Hey everyone, in this video, we take a closer look at the Old Dutch Capuchine. Look at it. That broad, compact body and that perfectly horizontal posture? You'd think, okay, form pigeon. Then you notice those rich colors, deep reds, yellows, or blacks, and you're like, wait, is this a color pigeon? And then that bright pearl eye with the fiery red eye ring. That screams tumbler, right? But here's the thing. What really sets it apart is that majestic structure. That's the giveaway. That's why the Capuchine is a structure pigeon. Now, structure is important, for sure, but the very first thing that actually counts is the overall impression. You know, the shape, the proportions, and how the bird carries itself. A good Capuchine should look short and broad, with a wedge-shaped upper body and a narrow tail. From the side, the chest should be deep, full, and clearly visible. And when you pick the bird up, it should feel firm and muscular, no fluffiness hiding weak structure. We aim for short, compact birds. That's the goal. But I guess a lot of Capuchins end up just a bit too long. And when that happens, oh man, you lose chest width and depth. It happens more often than you'd think. At the same time, though, a bird can't be too short either. You need enough feather length to actually build proper structure, especially cap height. So yeah, finding that sweet spot between compactness and feather length? That's kind of the art of breeding this pigeon. These days, birds with slightly longer legs and necks are often preferred. The neck should be carried straight so the structure really shows off. Some birds don't stretch the neck enough, while others puff themselves up and pull it back in. That completely ruins the outline. And then there are birds that are just, well, too small overall. That's another common fault. And now a short break. If you enjoy this content, please subscribe or give it a like. This helps our YouTube channel immensely. We need it. Thanks in advance. Now let's talk posture. A correct Capuchine stands naturally in a strong, horizontal position. And here's the thing, you can't train this. Either the bird has it, or it doesn't. It should stand freely, without leaning on the cage bars. If the stance is clearly slanted, nope, that's a serious fault and limits the bird to 92 points. No way around it. Leg placement matters a lot here. Legs set too far back force the bird to lift its body just to stay balanced, and that changes the whole outline. Another little detail, the leg joints should show a slight bend. Birds that overextend their legs look stiff. Not good. The back line may slope down just a bit, but it has to be fully covered with feathers. If it's not, that bird is capped at 94 points, no matter how amazing the color is. Alright, now we're getting into the heart of it, structure. Structure is made up of 3 parts, and they all have to blend together smoothly. The cap, the collar, and the neck filling with its feather separations. The cap should be high, broad, and clearly set beside the head. Ideally, it starts high on the head. Judges look from the side to check placement, and from the front to judge height and evenness. If the cap sits too low, that's a fault. And yeah, head shape matters. Narrow heads usually mean narrow caps. The collar starts at the neck, connects cleanly to the cap, and flows down onto the chest. From the front, it should look continuous and even, with both sides matching in length. It shouldn't be too tight or too open, and ideally, it's at least 2 centimeters wide. Then there's the neck filling, sitting at the back of the neck, with rosettes on the sides. The filling should be full, rich, and as broad as possible. The rosettes need to be compact and set low. Long rosettes can cut into the neck filling, and double rosettes? Nope, not acceptable. Loose, crossed, or silky feathers just take away from the whole picture. Other common faults? Collars that are too narrow or too wide, broken collars, or collars that aren't even on the chest. Capuchins usually show their very best structure right after the molt, typically November and December, when feather condition is just spot on. Now let's look at the eyes, because they matter. The ideal capuchin has a clear pearl eye with only minimal red veining. The pupils should be small and round. Eye rings should be narrow, bright, and fiery red, often giving the beak base a slight reddish tint. Pale eye rings or overly red eyes limit the bird to 92 points. Occasionally, birds are born with dark eyes. They can't be shown, sure, but if the bird is otherwise outstanding, it can still be valuable for breeding. Good point to remember. Alright, let's run through the color classes. First, the selfs. The whites are not truly recessive white. The pearl eye gives that away. When they first appeared, there was some controversy since they lacked the traditional monk marking. But oh well, their quality won people over, especially in Germany. These birds tend to be bulky, with short legs, a great upright stance, and solid structure. And since there's no color or pattern to distract you, judges can really focus on type, posture, and structure. Self-reds and self-yellows followed in 1996. Things have improved a lot, but these varieties are still catching up to the patterned ones, and judges usually give them a bit of leeway. Next are the monk patterned varieties. Yellow capuchins are the standard. They are the breed's true hallmark and make up most show entries. Ideally, the yellow is rich and glossy, almost like lacquer. To keep feather texture smooth, breeders often mix in paler yellows, otherwise, the feathers can get rough and hairy. Watch out for bluish tinges or colored leg feathers. The best ones glow with a deep golden shine and bright pearl eyes, though caps can sometimes sit a bit low. Red-marked capuchins have come a long way. They look so amazing. Breeders aim for a deep, glossy red with a purple sheen. That gloss can again interfere with feather structure, so reds and yellows are often bred together. Older reds often get a darker beak coating, and while the eyes may be less bright, judges don't usually penalize that heavily. Black-marked capuchins? Oh yeah, they're back. Deep black with a green shine, and they're winning even shows. They can look a bit stiff or puffy at times, which hurts elegance, and breeders still work on pattern faults like white wing arches or mottled bellies. Dunmarked birds. They were created as a mix of yellow and black lines, gained quality in the late 80s. Mostly bred in the Netherlands, they have good type but lack strong contrast and gloss, and the shade can vary a lot, which makes it a bit tricky. Blue-black barred capuchins only recently reached show quality, thanks to German breeders. They're getting more and more popular, though longer bodies and loose neck feathers can be an issue. Ash blue birds have always been rare, but focused breeding has paid off lately. They usually have fewer structural problems than the blues. Mealy or ash red marked birds are also rare. Recognized in the 90s, but they never really took off. Even with spread ash crosses, the color just hasn't caught on. Cream or ash yellow birds have had more success. Their popularity goes up and down, but right now, they're making a strong comeback with some really beautiful ones. And finally, the tigered capuchins. These have a mix of colored and white feathers, ideally about 50-50. To keep quality high, breeders regularly cross them back to solid colored birds, otherwise the plumage gets too white over time. Black tigered birds are the most popular here. Strong contrast, strong structure, though loose neck feathers can be an issue. Breeders also have to avoid mold, where feathers are both white and black. Also, mottling must be avoided. This happens when there are large solid patches of color. Red-tigered birds are popular in Eastern Europe and useful for breeding, as long as narrow chests or mottling are avoided. Yellow-tigered birds share many strengths of the yellow-marked variety. Same rules apply here, avoid mottling and mold. And blue-tigered? It's recognized, sure, but honestly, you'll rarely see it at shows. Now, let's talk about what these birds are actually like to keep. Because, guess what, they're pretty easy. The Old Dutch Capuchine is a joy in the loft. They're reliable breeders and excellent parents. There's even that saying, 2 eggs, 3 young, because they're just that productive. Maybe not always in the first round, but still, oh wow. A pair usually raises 6 to 10 youngsters per season. That's solid. In the first round, you might get an infertile egg, probably because the males are still sorting out dominance. After that, smooth sailing. Most people keep them in aviaries, but they also do great in free flight. If you've got a garden, it's such a pleasure to see them walking around. I advise to have a separate section for young birds. That space is super handy during molting or in winter when you separate the males and females. Did you find this interesting? Then be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos about our special pigeon breeds. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.